Hey everybody, Mama G here from Lima Christian School, and I've got your new art lesson all ready for you. Hope you had fun with the shark, and hope you had fun with the germ for you guys who are in the upper grades. This one is actually going to be for grades 7 through 12 because you're going to see that I have some kind of extension projects that are going to be based on this too, that some of the 10th through 12th graders are going to be doing. But this one we're all going to follow along, and then I'll tell you what we'll break off into the 7th through 9th grade and the 10th through 12th grade. But we're going to be doing a mouse. So this is part A. We're going to be doing this similar, very similar to how we did both the shark and how we did the germ for those of you guys who did those projects. We're going to be looking at simple shapes. We're going to look at shape, size, location, tilt. We're going to draw this little mouse. So today we're just going to be doing that portion of it. And then we'll be going on to do a little bit more cool stuff that I'll show you in a minute. So what you're going to need today, you're going to need a paper, a pencil, and an eraser. And remember, I don't care what kind of paper you have. You could even draw it on lined paper. Probably better if it was blank paper, copy paper. It can be any pencil that you have that you can erase, and an eraser. If you want, you can print out the photograph. I'm going to put the link up on Classroom Google for that, but you can print out the photograph so you have it yourself. And then if you have that, if you want to put it under a plastic sleeve and maybe use a dry erase marker, or at least you'll have that right there for you too. So here we go. Let me show you what we're doing. Here's my little friend, the mouse. He's really cute. This is by Marco Schaffner Photography from Instagram. If you want to look up Marco's Instagram, he's got a lot of really cool photos on there, and he's given me permission to use those. So you can see this was taken in Switzerland. It's a little Swedish mouse. We're going to be doing this mouse with simple shapes. So I already have him in a plastic sleeve, and in a moment I'm going to go ahead and break them up into his little shapes, but I want to show you where we're going because I like you guys to know where we're headed. So today is the simple shapes. So you can see here, this is what we're going to get to today. And we're going to be looking for all those simple shapes, and we'll be drawing this little mouse. That's as far as you're going to get today. In lesson 2, we're going to be refining those shapes, and I'll show you how to take those and look for the ways that those shapes actually connect and adding some details. On lesson C for 7th through 9th grade, what you're going to do is you are going to place under your mouse a letter. So you can place the letter of your first name. It can be in bubble form. And then in the letter, you guys are going to be doing some cool Zentangling. And if you want to look up about Zentangle patterns, you can look that up. Do a little search for it, and you'll find lots of really cool stuff on Zentangle patterns. And I'm hoping that you can copy it over in some sort of a marker so you can use some either black and white or 2 different colors for it. But even if it's just done in pencil, that's fine. So that's only 7th through 9th grade. For 10th through 12th grade, you guys are going to be deciding what you want your little mouse sitting on. You're going to look up a reference for it. So I picked an acorn. I looked up a reference for it so I could draw this acorn a little bit more realistically. And you're going to add value and you're going to add texture. Remember, value is just how light or dark something is. So you're going to be looking for those things in your picture. Before today, everybody's starting the same way. So get out your paper, your pencil. If you need to pause this, pause this. We are now going to look for some simple shapes on this guy, and then you guys are going to draw them. So when I look at this as an artist, I always like to say, okay, I know I can find simple shapes. Circle, oval, triangle, rectangle, square, or a line. So on here, I found a whole lot of ovals. So follow along with me if you can and draw these. I see an oval right here for that ear. Remember, we're simplifying this. We're not trying to trace the shape totally. We're going to simplify it. I see as the head is almost a circle, not quite. It's an oval still. I see over here a partial oval. You could put it connected into the body if you want. And over here, a little partial oval. And then I see a half circle here. And there's actually one here too where his little paws are. And then I just made these 2 things lines. Okay, that's kind of the back of this little guy. I also made this just a line. But remember, there's 2 kinds of lines in art. There is curved and straight. Both of these have a little curve on them. So don't let your brain fool you. They are curved. This little eye is an oval. This one's slightly different. So don't miss this. It is a little bit skinnier of an oval. And then I've got a little oval here for the nose. And I think that's all I drew on my original one. Let me go back and look at that. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so those are the shapes I drew on my original one. These are the shapes I want you to guys to draw right now. I'm just going to start it with you, and then you're going to finish it. So here we go. All right, the first thing that I'm going to draw is, and I can draw any shape I want, but remember, whatever shape you draw first, everything else is dependent on it. I'm going to draw the head. I want it the same size. How do I figure out the same size? I'm going to use my less dominant hand, and I'm just going to measure it with my fingers here. I'm going to place that on my paper, and I'm going to put a little line top and bottom. That tells me how tall it is, but how wide is it? So I know it's an oval. I know the size it is one way, but I can figure out the other size too. So I can take this and transfer it over here. I kind of split it in the middle there. There's where my oval is going to reside. So I can go ahead right now. Remember, this doesn't have to be perfect right now. We're going to be refining it later. So you can see my lines are all wobbly. Don't worry about that too, because we can always trace this over later. There's my head. Now I need to do my ears. So I can look at my ears, but here's what I want you to always remember. If you're going to be drawing this oval, you have to say, okay, what's the shape? It's an oval. What is the size of it? I can see about how big it is. I can figure this out, right? It's this big. But where am I going to place it? That's the location. So the location is determined by where it's placed on this one. Here's what I can see on my original. I have to kind of let this top of this be alone here. This over here is not way off on the side. I can see that if this is the middle of the head right here, I have to move a little bit to the left, and that's where that starts. And then how wide is it? Where does it end over here? I can use my fingers. So I can figure about how wide that is. Put that on here. Okay, now I've got that. I can figure out how tall it is too, okay? But here's what we have to figure out. We have to figure out if there's a tilt on it. And so remember, when you're looking for tilt, take your, whatever your shape is, kind of put a line right through the middle of it, and you can tell if there's a tilt. There's definitely a little tilt on this ear. So I want to make sure I get that. I also want to make sure that part of the oval is down here underneath this first line. So everything that you've done is going to help you figure out, okay, that's about how much of that oval is showing underneath this line. There is a tilt on it. I can even draw the little tilt on here for a reference. I can figure out how tall it is with my fingers. And I can finish up that first little oval. So this is going to be an approximation. So it won't be exact, but that's okay. You're learning how to see, and you're learning how to figure out, okay, how do I take this apart? So when I do that, I call it, you're kind of deconstructing it. You're figuring out how to take this mouse apart and then put it back together on another piece of paper. So I want you guys to keep going with that, and you're going to eventually end up at the end of today's art lesson with this guy right here. So happy drawing. Hope you guys get that done. Email it to me or send it to me by text. You guys have that in your Google Classroom so I can see how far that you've gotten. Give me a yell or a little text if you guys have questions, or send me a note on Google Classroom. I love you guys. I miss you all so much. I would show you my face right now, Sunny Woo, except that right now I haven't taken a shower. So it's a good thing this isn't like smellography. I love you guys.